Hi, I'm Victor Agreda Jr. with the Unofficial Apple Weblog, and I'm here at WWDC 2011 with MacTech magazine. We are talking to developers and getting their opinion on the Keynote, all the stuff that's been announced, and of course what they are doing with their own products. And I'm here with Craig Vanderzwaag of WWDC Studios. And Craig, you have an interesting story because you aren't, like a lot of the guys we've been talking to, you haven't been in this game that long. And tell us a little bit about your story.
I think based on just the environment and the energy that comes from this community, comes from developing applications and being able to be creative is what really drew me to learning how to program for the iPhone and the iPad, or basically iOS programming. So about 6 months or so, or maybe about a year or so ago, I kind of set down this road to learn Objective-C, to learn computer programming, and we just released our first app about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's called Beer Timer. It's in the App Store now. It's a real simple app, but it's for anybody who's ever put a beer in the freezer and then forgotten it, and then you go back and it's exploded in your freezer. And we actually tested and figured out the right time it takes and used Newton's law of cooling, of all things, to figure out actually how long it takes a beer to cool. So, and then we took beer types and we figured out, if it's a lager versus a stout, which the appropriate beer timer is. So we're not solving the world's problems, but we did a fun app, and that was our first venture into the iOS world.
That's definitely a problem, though. That is fantastic. I love that you guys did the testing on
We
that.
tested a lot. Yeah,
Which was, I'm sure it was grueling.
It was.
It's all those beers.
It's tough to work at WWDC. It really is.
So how's your experience been, though, with learning programming? I mean, how has Objective-C been, difficult for you? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I don't come from, I'm trained in science. My degree's in biology.
Okay.
So I don't have a computer science degree. So starting basically at square one, was difficult, but probably a good thing because you get a good foundation. And I've really been trying to immerse myself in classes and programming languages and meeting people here at WWDC and taking classes here that are way over my head with technologies and APIs and things that are well beyond what I'm doing. But I think in the long run that will help me be a better developer.
Oh, well, yeah. And you scored one of the golden tickets.
Certainly.
Congratulations
Thanks.
on that one.
Appreciate it.
Well, speaking of WWDC, what about the Keynote? I mean, is there anything there particularly that jazzes you, and is there anything in particular you might use in an application?
So I think what I haven't seen, I haven't been reading much media since we've been so busy across the way, but what I haven't seen talked about very much so far is between iOS 5 and the devices, you're seeing this ubiquitous, almost kind of homogeneous environment now, or ecosystem, for how you interact with your computer, your iPad, and your iPhone. It's becoming across the line with multi-touch and with all the different styles and programs. It's becoming much the same, and so I think Apple's really going the distance or going all out to bring that across all of their platforms. So with that, I think you have an advantage to really, create a much more immersive experience for your customer when you're building applications. So you can build them for the PC, build them for the iOS devices as well. And so I think because they're doing that, it makes it easier to bring them to all the platforms. And so if you have one application, it works everywhere, every time, and it just works, kind of like Steve said with iCloud. So and I think that's another point bringing up iCloud, is that it's not just a Dropbox, or it's not just a hard drive in the sky. I think the intent of iCloud is really to help facilitate that leveraging of all the devices. It's not just I need 20 gigs of music storage space someplace not at my house or my hard drive. It's to facilitate that whole interaction. I think people miss that point sometimes. It's not a hard drive in the sky. iCloud facilitates all that interaction. So I kind of got a lot out of that, and I see that's where things are going to.
Well, for someone who hasn't been sort of steeped in technology like some of us have, in terms of setting up Dropbox and all these crazy shenanigans to try to just get what I believe Josh Topolsky called a continuous client, right? Mm-hmm. Where you pick up one device and you've got this experience, and then you stop that and you pick up your Mac, and then you've got that thing seamlessly transfers over. I mean, let's say Infinity Blade was on the Mac. Mm-hmm. If I was playing a game over here on my iPad and I shut it down, I could go and pick it up right where I left it off on my Mac, and that's sort of been this holy grail. And Apple's solve that. And you're right, it's beyond just a Dropbox.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
you could do that, right? Set weird plist files in places and all this kind of thing, but
Right.
they've really done it in a nice, elegant way. So
Mhm.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Craig, good luck. What's the name of the app again?
Beer Timer.
Beer Time.
And we're doing the same thing for wine coming out. We put Beer Timer out, and everybody said you gotta do the same thing for wine. I've never put wine in the freezer, but I guess people do. So we're gonna do Wine Timer next. Beer Timer and Wine Timer, it's then gonna be in the
What about Soda Timer?
That's coming as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, good deal.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. All right, Craig, thanks so much.
Victor, appreciate
all
it.
Right.
All right.
I'm Victor Agreda Jr. with the Unofficial Apple Weblog here at WWDC 2011 with MacTech Magazine. Thanks for watching.